Everybody, my name's Doug McDowell. I'm a graduate student here at OU. I'm doing a MFA in painting and drawing, and I'm going to talk to you about what a laser cutter is. So this is what a laser cutter looks like, and this is a machine that basically produces an extremely powerful beam of light, a laser, and that beam of light is so strong it can vaporize materials. So it allows us to cut through materials or make marks on materials. And this is sort of an example of what a laser cutter can do. So this is a piece of wood, and these are three examples of the different things it can do. It can cut all the way through the material, it can score the material, so just making a mark, and it can engrave materials. So similar to scoring, but it's making a mark within all of the solid areas. And laser cutters can cut a lot of different materials. We use it a lot for wood, but you can use it also with like mat board, cardboard, paper, acrylic, which is like plastic, styrofoam. You can make marks on metal, you can make marks on glass, all sorts of things. But what we use it for in art, we can use it in a lot of different ways. We can use it in kind of practical ways of uh, cutting very, very precise shapes. So imagine you can create a design on your computer, and then you can feed that design to a laser cutter, and it'll give you an exact cut. So it's really good for making pieces to build things, parts, things like that. But you can also use it in very creative ways also. So, you could use it to engrave text onto glass or something like that. Or you can use it to burn paper in really interesting ways. So we use it a lot for kind of like practical uses, but also very experimental uses also. So how does this machine actually work? So this is the laser cutter, like I said. This lid lifts up, and basically how it works is that you put your material onto this bed, and then there is like a focal lens that shoots a laser down into the material and then cuts or marks the material. And this is a CO2 laser cutter, meaning that there is a big glass tube in the back and it's full of gases. And when energies pass through those gases, it creates a lot of electricity, a lot of energy into a beam of light. And that beam of light gets kind of bounced through the machine until it gets to the head of the laser, and then it shoots it down into the material and then cuts our material. And we use a special software with this laser cutter, and it is called Lightburn. And Lightburn looks like this. It kind of looks like Photoshop or Illustrator, those kind of things, but you have your canvas that you work on that matches the bed of the laser cutter, and then you have your layers over here. And these layers allow you to make all kind of customizations, like adjusting the power of the laser and how fast it moves. So this is software specifically for laser cutting, and it's what we use for this laser cutter. And lastly, there's four very important safety concerns when using a laser cutter. So number one, and this is probably the most important, is that you don't want to stare at the laser beam while it's cutting. And the reason is because it's like staring into the sun. And I hope none of you have ever stared into the sun, but if you have, you know that it can really hurt your eyes, cause permanent damage. So it's okay to glance at the laser to be sure it's operating how you want, but you do not want to stare at it because it can cause eye damage. So safety concern number two, you don't want to touch the machine while it's running. The reason is this machine's generating a ton of electricity, and there is a risk for electrical shock. So the manufacturer recommends do not touch the machine. So number three, be aware of fire. So whenever there's a very powerful high uh, thing of heat hitting a flammable material, there's a chance for fire. And I've started a fire before, or I've caught a piece of material on fire before with a laser cutter. So I know it's possible. Um, so you want to be careful. If a small little fire starts, you can hit stop on the machine. It'll probably go out. If the fire is bigger, you can always lift the lid up and just blow the fire out. That might work. If the fire gets bigger, it starts to get kind of scary. Um, there is a fire extinguisher in the hall, just outside the door. Get that, bring it in, shoot it at the fire, put it out. If the fire gets really big, really scary, you don't know what to do, not your responsibility to put it out. It's your job to get somewhere safe. So if the fire is really big, get out of the room, try to find a fire alarm, pull it, and then get out of the building. The last safety tip, number 4, don't inhale fumes after you cut material. Materials like wood create smoke, plastic creates some sort of different fume, but you don't want to inhale those things in because it's bad for your lungs. And the way that you avoid inhaling it is when you're done making your cut, you want to leave the lid down for like 10 or 15 seconds, and that'll allow the exhaust fan to take all of the fumes out of the laser cutter, and then you're good to go. All right, so I'm going to show you quickly how to make a cut on the laser cutter. So there might be some background noise. It gets pretty loud, so we need an air compressor connected to the machine. So that's on, it's connected, good to go. We have the exhaust fan going. That's that tube back here. So we need to have that on. And then I made my file in Lightburn. I just made a really simple series of shapes. I sent that file to the laser cutter. So I got a piece of material down there, a piece of wood. I positioned the laser where I want it. I measured the right height so that the laser is focused, and then I can frame it so I know where it's going to cut. That looks good. So we're ready to make a cut. I'm going to close the lid. I'm going to try to give you a better view of the cut. All right, so I'm going to hit start and we should cut the material. All right, so the cut finished up. I can open up the lid because the fumes have time to escape. I'm going to move the laser head out of the way. And you can see that we have a nice cut. That's it.